No, can you turn on the? Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Continuing with the characteristics after the divine origin, the characteristic of being originated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the results and the element associated to that as being unique and flawless. The second one is the comprehensiveness. And the third one, as we've been studying, is al-umumu, the generality. So to justify that Islam is a system that is general and universal, it has, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we have sent you, to the whole humankind, as has been mentioned in Surah وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا in Surah Saba. قل يا أيها الناس إني رسول الله إليكم جميعا in Surah Al-A'raf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completed this deen, as He said, and we have mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم. The system and the mechanism, the way how the extraction of the laws to help a society, an individual, to live their life, to face the issues that they will be confronting in their life, need to have a system to help them do that. Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it with all this characteristic to fulfill and to present to the whole humankind a system that is universal and general. The main element, or let's say principles helping or like validating or justifying this characteristic for the Islamic system. First is al-maslaha. And we're going to try to, in brief, to try to present the meaning of the maslaha. Al-maslaha is everything that is beneficial to the human being. Al-maslaha, something that is beneficial. The opposite of the maslaha is al-mafsada, is harmful thing, the harmful thing. The whole Sharia of Islam is based on seeking the benefit for the humankind and protect him from a harmful thing. The whole Sharia. It is even the essence of one's thoughts, one's objective in his life. To find safety, to be protected from any harm. The Sharia of Islam is all of it revealed for this purpose. جلب المصالح ودرء المفاسد. جلب المصالح ودرء المفاسد. And in Islam, to seek advantage, to seek benefit in this life and in the hereafter is not limited to this life. And to be protected and push away and avoid harmful thing in this life and in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when we're talking about the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قال وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. So the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was sent to be mercy for the words. Mercy of the word for the words, which is mean that presenting for them the way to attain ease, to attain joy, to attain peace, and helping them to avoid any harm that can befall them. So that's the mission of the Prophet ﷺ and his message. Second, in the Islamic system, the illah of the ahkam. The illah of the ahkam are the reason for which the law is legislated. For example, some of them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, didn't mention that, we call it illah ta'abudiyya. But example, the alcohol. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah specified and showed that the details why is haram. It intoxicates, it causes enmity, it diverts you and distracts you from the remembrance of Allah, it makes you divide. All of this negative effect, Allah made it haram. Therefore, the law of the Sharia, their essence is to preserve and to look forward to provide the best state of a person to live in safety and to be in ease. If there's any human being in all this time, in the time of his being in this planet Earth, not seeking the same thing, so this is universal. So that's how the Islam, has its universality, because his intent are universal. Its high objective as universal. It's the what he provided to the human being is universal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. And you have in implementing the law of al-qasas, you're creating lives. And this is for the people of understanding to be reminded. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you implement the soul, a soul for a soul, if someone killed, then he need to be punished by being killed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you go on to protect your generation, the humanity, by helping life to exist. It's like creating life, which is like you developing, you preserving the life of humankind by implementing this law. So the law of al-qasas, it didn't come to retaliate or for someone to just satisfy his vengeance. No, the law of the qasas came to, subhanallah, develop the life and create life. قال ولكم في القصاص حياة. Actually, you permit life to exist on earth. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah. I don't have the thing. ولكن in Surah Al-Baqarah, I'll give you the numbers. Surah Al-Baqarah. The example of the alcohol, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ, the shaitan, only seeking with the intoxicant, pushing you, have you to drink the intoxicant or use the intoxicant, that he will cause between division and adawa wa baghdha, enmity, etc., in the khamr and al-maisir and gambling, وَيَصُدَّكُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, and he's seeking to divert you and oppose you or lead you astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَعَنِ الصَّلَاةِ, and also the salah. هَلْ أَنْتُمْ فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ, are you not gonna stop? So Allah give you the reason why it's haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starting the sharia, with the common sense. He said, they ask you about intoxicant al-khamr, say it has, benefit, and it has a lot of harmful things. So you see here in the ayah, it gives you the reason. So the sharia is always look at the advantage and at the harmful thing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, but the harmful thing in it is far, more than the good thing. Therefore, don't do it. So this is the second aspect in regarding the maslaha in the Arabic, the benefit, the maslaha in the mechanism of the extraction of the law in the Sharia. The next point, قال تشريع الرخص عند وجود المشقات. The legislation of permission in time of hardship. Someone is traveling and he's fasting. He said, as long as you're fasting, you have the permission to break your fast. You might encounter hardship. If it's not hardship and someone is traveling in a plane and he said, yes, still you have the permission. Permission, I have a backache, I cannot pray. You sit down and pray. Permission. I cannot even sit down, lay down. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow on you the favor to not have you to not meet him as the greatest gift for the believer in any state. If I don't have wudu, make tayammum. I could not find anything. Pray as you know, in any position and in any state. You have the permission to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, تشريع الرخص. Also in the same point here, it is halal. Things are haram becomes halal in a state of necessity. Things haram becomes halal in a state of necessity. Like haram food becomes halal when someone is starving to death. Someone sick in Ramadan, he will break his fast. Also, when you study the law of the Sharia, you'll find that they've been divided in three categories, mainly الضروريات والحاجيات والتحسينات. الضروريات are the aspects of the ahkam related to things are necessities. Then two things are hajiyat, haj needed in the society, needed. Necessity is higher than needed. And tahsinat, things are, tahsinat kind of for adornment, for embellishment. So our scholar, when studying the Sharia, they found it is divided in these three levels. So I tell you, for example, you take al-daruriyat. When you take al-daruriyat, the necessities, they say these necessities, if it does not exist in a society, the society will live in chaos. There will be killing, there will no justice, this society will not exist. It will end by perish. These necessities, to preserve them in the society, the Sharia came to protect them with the laws, therefore, in a way, to protect the society. So these necessities, according to the majority of the scholar, there are 5. They حفظ الدين والنفس والعقل والنسل والمال. To protect faith, to protect life, to protect progeny, to protect the intellect, the brain, and to protect properties. And if we just talk about these 5 in brief, when it comes to faith, so everyone has the right for the faith, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called there is no compulsion in the faith. But to protect the faith of the society from those who change their faith in a way opposing the whole thought and the whole structure of the society, because the faith in Islam is their constitution. It's not like in the secular system, faith, nothing have to do with the system of the government or have to do with the system of society. The faith in Islam is the foundation of the whole society. It is what govern the society, guide the society. All subhanallah, the characteristic of the society is based on its faith. Therefore, renouncing the faith, being subject of a society of Islam, implementing the Sharia of Islam, and the person, he willingly came to Islam, he's willingly implementing Islam, but he changed his deen. This is, as you know, the punishment of the apostasy is the killing. But here, let's understand why I give you the point emphasizing that is a foundation of the society. It is foundation of the government itself. If I'll ask you the question, is a very simple question: what is the punishment of treason in every society today? What is the punishment? Huh? The same for Islam, for the faith, because the faith is the constitution. So people, for example, when you come, people talking about the apostasy in Islam, they say, the killing, it's not you saying there is no compulsion in Islam. I said, of course, it is. This hukum of apostasy is only implemented in a society of Islam that implement the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it will be regarded as regarded in all the constitution of the world is the treason against the society, treason against the government. That's exactly the same in Islam. Why? Because in a secular system, you divide it. You don't even regard the faith as part of the system of society. It's like individual thing. No, in Islam is the heart of the whole society. And actually, the origin of the whole law is from the faith. So the protection of the faith, because if you protect the faith, you protect the society, you protect its foundation. So it is a necessity. The second thing is the protection of life. So anything that touches the life is a major sin. So you find the killing in Islam is a major sin. And the punishment of the killing is the same, is a death sentence. Capital penalty. Why? So if you see the structure of the ahkam, the more needed this aspect in the balance and the existence of the society, the more is preserved by the Sharia, the more the punishment is grievous and it's very harsh. So when it comes to the faith, which is the base and the foundation of the society, then anyone who touched the faith, he's a mushrik, he this. Anyone who touched the life, he's going to be a major sin and he's punished by al-qasas. Then it comes to the progeny, which is like to protect the family, to protect the offspring, to protect the relationship. So this is how it's being protected. The committing of the fahisha is the same. قال subhanallah, الزاني المحصن, الزاني المحصن, the one who's married and commit adultery. You know what is his punishment? Then you have comes to the brain, to protect the brain, to protect, subhanallah, that way of thinking. If someone get intoxicated in drugs and the whole nation is under drug, then you're not going to find anyone who's going to be building or doing anything. So it's like it killed the society. That's why the intoxicant in Islam is haram, and the punishment of it, and there's related to it punishment. And then comes to the properties. The properties to be preserved, to be safeguarded, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made in the Sharia, you find the stealing is haram, and the punishment for stealing, you know how harsh it is. So look at the structure of the Sharia now. When it comes to those elements who really protect the mere existence of the society, Islam came to protect it. So this is the big maslahah. This is the big benefit for the whole society. This is, question of existence. So the law comes to protect it with very severe, let's say, laws, and with, harsh, if you can say, punishment. Why? To protect the society. So you see how the maslahah been protected in the system of Islam. And the hajjiyat are, things in the society that without it, the society will be living in harsh living, but they will still exist, they will still have good relation. And the tahsinat is the embellishment, which is part of the mubahat. So in the hajjiyat, you find things are haram, makruh, things like that, but in the embellishment, it be like the things are mubah. And this is one how the structure of the Islamic law is built, based on the maslaha and based on the priority of that maslaha into the society. The highest needed in the society, the more is protected by the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From al-hajiyat, the permission that we have mentioned, divorce from the hajiyat is needed for a situation to solve, an impasse, things like that, etc. As a conclusion to this part that we say, talking about the maslaha, the whole Sharia is being built to serve the maslaha of the human being. I will read this beautiful statement by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala in his book إعلام الموقعين. He's saying, talking about the Sharia, يقول مبناها وأساسها على الحكم ومصالح العباد في المعاش والمعاد. The structure of the Sharia, its foundation is all based on serving the benefit of the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their life and for their hereafter, for their akhirah. وهي عدل كلها, and it is the Sharia, all of it is just, all of it is mercy, all of it is seeking benefit, all of it is wisdom. فكل مسألة خرجت من العد إلى الجور. Therefore, any hukum, any part of the Quran, any hukum in the Quran, when is implemented, is going to cause oppression. When is implemented, is going to cause, instead of rahmah, is going to cause the opposite of it. So this hukum is not from Allah. So the hukum of the Sharia is very important point here that Ibn al-Qayyim is underlining. So for example, if you take hukum from the Sharia, it is in the book of Allah, but when you're going to implement it, you're going to cause injustice. So here the Sharia telling you that hukum was legislated to serve rahmah and justice, and you are using it to do injustice. Therefore, it's haram to implement it. I'll give you an example, a very known example. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anh, in Am al-Ramada, in the year of the famine, when people brought to him, they've been stealing. But what was the reason of stealing? In need of food. So here, if you're going to implement the punishment of stealing, is going to protect the properties or causing, subhanAllah, injustice for people who do not have to eat. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anh, he didn't implement it. When he told him, he said, the condition of implementation are not fulfilled. And here the society, as a government and responsible of these people, we have to provide for them food. So the one who was stealing and brought to Umar, he asked them to take him to give him food, not to punish him. Because the punishment and applying the hukum then is not going to lead to the purpose for which the law was legislated. So the implementation of the law of the Sharia require not only to be implemented as is, but implemented with the objective to fulfill its mission, which is rahmah and justice. The second, after the maslahah, the second evidence on the universality and generality of the system of Islam, principle of the Sharia on which is based. The law of the Sharia are two types. The first category came under principle, a general principle, and the second category came into details laws. For example, general principle, we're saying al-wujubu, al-amru yufidu al-wujub. Any command you see it in the Sharia implies obligation. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, aqimu salata, establish prayer, means the establishment of the prayer is an obligation on every believer. However, the salat, when you come to the details, he said for salatu al-dhuhri, or the description of the salah, you have to stand facing the qibla, and you have the condition of the need to be fulfilled. You have to have wudu, you have to cover your awrah. Those are the details of the ahkam. So there are two types of category of the ahkam. So the first type are mabadi' wa qawa'id, principle and general rules of the Sharia, on which the whole laws of the Sharia is based on. The first one is the principle of ashura, the principle of the shura. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى أمرهم شورى بينهم, so they consult each other. So there is no one opinion who prevail, no tyranny. And then, consulting, and in this consultation, it has a very great wisdom in it. Here, when they trying to get to a solution, it's not the opinion which is the one who's going to be, defended, more than the objective that is going to be regarded in the shura. For example, people are traveling to a certain destination. Shura of 5, everyone has a way. Said we can go from this way. Okay, all of us are getting to the same point, right? So let's be like more effective. Which way let's think of cost, for example. Say, I think the opinion so-and-so gave is less costly. So let's go, just agree on that. So the agreement, not like because of my opinion, it need to be the one that is going to be implemented. So as long as the objective is fulfilled, everyone will be happy, but that opinion chosen. Why? Because after being chosen, knowing that again to have the objective, what the next thing to do is to trust in Allah, rely on Allah, and start the action. And this is the shura, one which is the most effective way of fulfilling the plans based on, while having different opinion. And it is in the Quran, in Surah Ash-Shura, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named the whole surah with the Ash-Shura. The second principle, Mabda' al-Musawat. So these are principles on which the whole system of Islam is based on. Mabda' al-Musawat is the principle of equality. Principle of equality. So everyone is equal when it comes to the implementation of the law, and everyone is equal when it comes to stand before the law. Anyone is equal, there is no special status and everything. So the equality is implemented in all the aspects of the society. In the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, a woman from Bani Makhzum is a noble family from Quraysh. She committed the crime of stealing. And, a noble family to inflict on them the punishment of stealing, which is cutting off the hand, it's kind of big scandal, it's hurtful for the whole family. They cannot accept that. So they were begging who? The one that the Prophet ﷺ loves much is Usama. قال فجاء أسامة ابن زيد يستشفع لها عند رسول الله. He said, Ya Rasulullah, forgive her. You know, she's from Bani Makhzum, this relatives. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أتشفع في حد من حدود الله? Are you trying to intercede in one of the hudud Allah? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Allah's law. If you try to, start to change it now, then no one will implement it later. And this is when he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Wallahi, if it was Fatima bint Muhammad, I will have inflicted on her the punishment. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this mabda' musawat, it's not a slogan that is being written on paper. No, it's something that it was reality implemented in the society of Islam. That's why when Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an, he gave to Umar the responsibility of settling the dispute between people. So they give him like a small location. Everything was, so it's going to be used at the court. After a year, he came to Abu Bakr and he gave him back the keys. Told him, what this? He told him, Ya Khalifata Rasulillah, I don't need it. He told him, are you declining the position? He said, no. For a whole year, I didn't have anybody to come to the court. Why? Because people, subhanAllah, that society based on brotherhood, he said, and he continues saying, everyone like a brother to each other. When they have a problem, they settle between them. They don't need even to come to the court. And this is the type of the society where equality and justice is a part of the society. We'll come to talk about the justice not as a virtue to be implemented in the society. Justice. The justice is a character of every believer. It's different. It's a spirit of action. The third one is justice. Mabda'ul adala here. Al-adalatu fil Islam is a principle that you'll find it everywhere. And this guy. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us to deal with adala, to settle between people with adala, to act upon adala, to observe the adala, to have the adala with the closest one and with the farthest one, with the enemy, with the friend, in the court and in the street, in the mall, in the souk, in the market, and to have the adala in the management of all the affairs of the government. وحتى فيما يعطيه الأب لأولاده, and adala even in what the father has given to his children. إن روح العدل وجوهره إعطاء كل ذي حق حقه. Comes to a definition of the adala. What it means, adala, is to put things where they do belong, is to fulfill the rights of everyone who has right on you. That's the adala. So the adala in Islam becomes the spirit. The adala in Islam is a behavior, is a character, is a belief, is a thought, is a creed. Is not a virtue said, oh, we have to be just in this. His action is with the justice. His thought is with the justice. The implementation must be with the justice. So as you see here, all these principles not only validate and justify the universality of Islam, but any system that has these principles, it will be, universal. And we're saying here, these principles are not slogans. They are in the Quran, the Sunnah, and the action of the Prophet ﷺ, and is being seen in the first generation and in the generation of Al-Qurun Al-Fadila. Now,
far as Dawah being justice, is that understood in the lens of the Islamic lens, or is it based on the work that we call out? For example, how do you explain to someone when you come across hadith like لا يقتل المسلم بكافر, for example, and someone that's living in this modern time when they see something like that?
The hadith, it has kalam fi. So he mentioned the hadith like the Muslim could not be killed because of a non-believer, which is mean like if a Muslim kill a Muslim, he gonna be punished by the death penalty. If he kills a disbeliever, so he should not be killed by death penalty. And this hadith, it has a lot of kalam, but the conclusion, he will be punished by death penalty. So the conclusion of the saying of the scholar, and mainly the Hanafi school, bringing also presenting, because that hadith being mansukh and regarded from different perspective. But when it comes to the equality, soul for soul. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't specify a soul believer or non-believer. That's why the understanding of the hadith or looking at the saying of the scholar will help. And this is how also we recommend the student of knowledge or the people like from Al-Amma, when he reads, says, look, there's no equality in Islam. Say, no, there's such a thing. No. It has its own perspective, but yet soul for soul, I mean, there's no specification to be Muslim or non-Muslim. If someone, a Muslim, committed a crime, he's going to be punished like everyone else. The fourth one, قاعدة لا ضرر ولا ضرار. This hadith of the Prophet ﷺ exactly يقول لا ضرر ولا ضرار. لا ضرر, no harm. ضرار, kind of not to be cause harm. So in the Sharia, this is, subhanallah, it's a principle. Do not act in a way that is halal, but you might cause harm for other without knowing. And also, for you, no one should cause harm on you. Example, someone, he built a house, and he has, the big window at his, backyard opening on the backyard of the neighbor. So I said, this is, it's your house, but you cause harm for me. So the judge here told him, go and close your window. You don't have the right. Why? Because you are looking at the kind of the privacy of people. So this person, he did something for him halal, but he causing harm. So this hadith, it entered in all of the detail of the relations between people, how to protect privacy, how to protect right by people. So there is no way in Islam to accept anyone who cause harm, even, in a way that he didn't intend it. If someone, for example, he hit the car, he said, I'm sorry, I didn't intend. So the Sharia comes to him, pay for him the damage. If he will forgive you something else. But he say, many people say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. And they said, okay, that's fine. No. He say, I didn't see it, how much I need to pay for you the damage? Because I caused harm for this person. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. So this is another qaida to show how the system of Islam based on universal concept that serve the whole humanity in a very positive and great way. The ahkam al-tafsiliyya, now the second category, are the ahkam al-tafsiliyya, or the details of the ahkam. Now, after this principle, Islam comes to dig deep in every aspect of the life of the believer. If you come to ahkam al-aqidah, for example, talking about the iman billah, the Prophet ﷺ, talking about about the fitrah, the inner nature of a human being, A lot of things are in detail in Aqidah that help the believer to be steadfast and firm and will not have any confusion. Come to Ahkam al-Ibadat. Ahkam al-Ibadat, to know that how the salat, how to pray, how to fulfill the prayer, when if you don't pray or you don't have or you miss a prayer, what to do. So it gives you all the details. Comes to Ahkam the Akhlaq, the same. Al-Mu'amalat, the same. And mashallah, the books of the Fiqh are filled with all these Ahkam. So not only on the Mabada, but it comes in the details. Also the Sharia comes to present for you all what you need in such a thing. The last one in as evidence to the generality, we said the significance of the maslahah, the principle of Islamic system and the nature of the Islamic law, as we have mentioned here. And then the third one, the resources utilized in extracting the Islamic law. In the sources, we have three main sources. The first one, the Quran. The second one is the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the third one is al-ijtihad. The ijtihad, al-ijtihad. The ijtihad is a mechanism of extracting the law by making effort, analysis on base of the Quran, Sunnah, their intent, their principles, their concept. So today and this is the ijtihad, is the mechanism that obligated in the Islamic system to have the Islam to keep its relevance and its generality. That's why those who do not like Islam, the first thing they attacked is the ijtihad. If you take away the ijtihad from the ummah, therefore you took away its aspects of generality, and then the comprehensiveness will not be able to function. Then the Muslim will be in a situation that does not have solution in his own system, that people, they pushed him to go elsewhere. So the ijtihad is the mechanism that help to extract the law, and law for any issue that appears in any time, based on the Quran and the Sunnah, based on the intent of the Quran and the Sunnah. Well, al-ijtihad is a term that includes all the action that it has effort based on the Quran and Sunnah, and the one of the first list is al-qiyas. Al-qiyas is the first in the list of the ijtihad.
Would it also include ijma'?
The ijma' it is, but the ijma' is the consensus of the ummah, which goes back to the Quran and the Sunnah. Because the ijma', is also difficult to justify it. But the ijma', it means if there's ijma', the ijma' could only have happened on a text that we don't know about it. So the text exists, we don't know about it. How we know it? We know through the ijma'. So the ijma' is actually coming back to the Quran and the Sunnah. And the ijtihad, because there's two, the ijtihad also, the consensus of the scholars, of course, is in the highest level of the ijtihad. But in reality, the true ijma' is coming back the Quran and the Sunnah. So the ijtihad, which allow for the system to keep its relevance and universality. That's why when we're going to study the subsystems, we're going to see how this characteristic in the subsystem of Islam, which is going to be, implemented and observed and safeguarded by the government to fulfill this. So a system of government who will not include in its system to protect the ijtihad is a system that is not Islamic. Is not looking forward to have Islam be relevant and universal in the society. Briefly, we'll finish the fourth one. The fourth one is short, al-jaza'u fil Islam. Al-jaza'u fil Islam is the reward, the recompense in Islam. The Islamic law is not a guidance that is free from reward or punishment. So the Islam is not simply advices, simply instruction just to implement, but Islam is a guidance, and this guidance is accountable because it has instruction, is a mission, is a task, is commitment, is fulfilling, obligations and rights. Therefore, it comes with reward and punishment. And this will be the drive for people to commit, because you have different level of drives. The drive of the love, the drive of the reward, and then the drive of the punishment will give you the opposite, so the fear. Start with the, fear, then motivated by reward, and then be motivated by the pure love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the al-jaza' fil Islam is vast and also comprehensive to everything. And the reward in the hereafter also means the reward in this life. Does not mean that reward only in the hereafter, yes.
If somebody is punished for killing somebody, what will happen on the day of judgment?
He's free from that sin. He paid for it, that's it. Yeah. He paid for it. And that's one of the characteristics of the Islamic system, that the law here is also related or in the same law of the hereafter. So whatever someone does here or being punished here in the system of Islam, he will be exempted from it in the hereafter.
So do we, suppose this happens, somebody is executed, do we then talk bad things about him?
Oh no. That's the Prophet ﷺ, what he said about Ma'az, who inflicted on him the death penalty by stoning. After he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, I committed adultery. And the Prophet ﷺ, and this is one of the way how the jurist need or the judge need to behave, as the way of the Prophet ﷺ, to try to avoid the punishment. So the Prophet ﷺ didn't want to listen to him. He started to turn his face, and then he insisted, and then he started to ask him question, like harsh question. And Al-Ma'az, he kept saying yes. Then after, he acknowledged on himself more than one time, then the punishment became like imminent. After he's been, inflicted on a death penalty, people, he heard after, people in the behind, people, they said, he could have, hide himself and, not come to like uncover himself and be in this big scandal and dies like an animal. They said very thing harsh. So the Prophet ﷺ heard them, and then he stopped in this narration. There's a dead corpse of animal. They said, where's so and so? They told him, here. He said, eat from it. He said, Ya Rasulullah, how can you ask us to eat from it? They said, this is worse. What you've been talking about your brother who just died is worse than eating from this. And then he said, by Allah, by the one holding my soul, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept him, his repentance, an acceptance or repentance that if it will be distributed on the whole people of Medina, will be enough for them. Yeah. He will be, subhanAllah, travel clean, because he came and he insisted to bear such punishment in the dunya. Why? Because he regarding the punishment of the akhirah. So he has a strong iman. He could have, just kept it secret and ask Allah repentance, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have also forgave him. Yeah. So this is al-jaza'u al-Islam, which is, kind of a drive for the action. So you see the whole system. Imagine, for example, someone say, pray Fajr on time. We said, okay, pray. Did you pray? Alhamdulillah, I prayed. You're not going to tell you on time or not, but to pray on time because you know how much benefit in it and the reward on it. Someone fasting in Ramadan. Can you say someone fasting or not? Huh? Said the fasting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for me. So the fasting between you and Allah, and you are waiting to meet Allah to reward you with your fasting. So this is the reward, is a great motivation and drive for competing for the good. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it also with the reward. قَالَ سَابِقُوا وَسَارِعُوا. Compete and race toward what? Toward the forgiveness of Allah and His paradise. So the jaza in Islam and the forgiveness has a great impact on the life of the believer in his life. Blessing, joy, peace, increase of provision, all of that, subhanAllah, comes with the forgiveness. So the reward not only in the akhirah. Someone said like, only the believer, so in Islam you live in misery waiting for the Jannah. There's no such a thing. Huh? You live in joy and tranquility, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. Yeah. The idealism and the realism is a very important point that we'll study it inshallah next time, and we'll try to finish next time the whole subsystem of Islam, which are put by the Sharia to fulfill all the characteristics that we have mentioned. If you have any question, inshallah, we have like 5 minutes, inshallah. Now again, how important this for the da'iyah. This is really crucial for everyone who, student of knowledge and everyone who making da'wah. Having this idea and this whole vision of Islam help every one of us to have the true confidence. Then when someone will be talking to you, to see the very big gap between the faith that someone is talking about and the faith that you believe in it, and how much information you have. How much, subhanAllah, is very founded, strong base, strong structure. When you say universal, you know why it's universal. When you say it's the truth, you know why it's the truth. When you say, for example, the principle, equality, shura, justice, it said the justice in Islam, and you talk about justice. So things, subhanAllah, it's really give you that very solid, knowledge and vision of the Islamic system. Because when you talk with other faith, other people, you always see they always rotate around only one term, one concept. No. He's laughing. Any question?
How important is it for a guy to know
the religion of the other person that is giving you? Because oftentimes, like you're saying that they're coming in the one concept. It was like Jesus died on the
No.
for us or something like that. That's what they come with, and like guaranteed paradise.
The question of Brother Saif, how important to know the religion of others. I mean, as answer of the question, you might not need it. Why? Because if you have the knowledge of the Quran, you have the whole knowledge. That's why when the Prophet ﷺ saw Umar reading a page, he denied it, the Prophet ﷺ, to have any page of the book of the people of the book to read it. Because the whole truth is in the Quran. If someone telling you about the way of to be saved in other faith, you have it already answered in the Quran. And at your question, I remember someone came and he they said they want to learn about Islam. I said, okay, we're going to talk about Islam. So one of them started to ask a question. I said, the condition to sit is to share with you the Islamic faith. I mean, some to talk to you about the Islamic faith. But we didn't sit to make a debate because we don't do debate. Because the debate it does not have any benefit. Because what? I'm going to prove to you that my religion is right, and then you're going to be mad and you want to prove to me that your religion is right. I know my religion is right. Lakum dinukum waliya din, peace to you, and that's it. So he started to ask a question, and I told him we don't, but he insisted. So I told him, he said, I am student of the Bible, I remember. He said, I told him I'm going to ask you a question. Why God could not forgive? Why he has to sacrifice a son? It's a common sense, right? You know what he said? He said, if he does forgive, then Christianity will not exist. I told him, then you said it. Wallahi, this is what was his answer. So you don't have even to continue with this person. That's it. If you hold on his faith, that's what he's believed. That's what is for him. Because you say, why God will not forgive? Explain to me why God, the God of the universe, who has everything, will not say, I will forgive you. Why he has to sacrifice a person? He literally said, if he does forgive, then Christianity will not exist. I told him, thank you. You answered, not me. Hey, wallah. And look, all what is being said, if you look at it from the Aqidah, from the vision that we have, you will have an answer with common sense. Sometimes they present to you things, the way they present it, personally I say, the God that you describe, I will never believe in him. So they get shocked. I said, yeah, God that you present, the way you describe it, I don't believe in him. I cannot believe in the God that you describe. Because it's wrong what you're describing. Then that's also an answer, inshallah. So you might not need, to study their faith, because everything you need is in the book of Allah. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم, and see you inshallah next week.